Scal, how we doing this week? And can you explain to me why I'm watching Pacers Knicks and not the Celtics advancing?
I mean, it all goes back to those two games that we blew. Like, if you don't blow those games, you're obviously you're up 2-0. The Celtics losing that series, and I get, okay, if you blow one of those leads, but to kind of get trapped like that twice, that's where it all started. And like, think about it. Like, people think, well, you could still win the series. That means, like, theoretically, you played well enough to beat a team 6 out of 7 times, and then four times in a row during the season, during the regular season. So then the Jason Tatum injury is like, it was a disastrous finish to, I think, all of us expecting like that team to walk through the playoffs.
Scal, just talking about that, kind of Game 6, coming off of the great, Game 5 that the team had without JT. I mean, when you look at just kind of how the Game 6 played out, I mean, it was a blowout. It was never close to you. I don't know. I mean, part of me wants to judge the organization and maybe even a little bit of JB to some degree. Do you think that the way they played in Game 6 is an indictment to the organization or to JB at all? How do you look at the way the season ended with that performance in Game 6?
Not like that. I think when I kind of break down that game, I think, all right, Derek White got going in Game 5. We talked about Derek White. And then, so I don't know how you see it, but the way I watch it, as the Celtics were coming down in transition, you should see, like, the individual guys that would sprint to Derek White 35 feet from the basket. And they were just like, we cannot allow Derek White to make any transition threes. So they take one of our, that was 34 points. And, for basketball, if you start making shots early, other things open up and, momentum and all that stuff. So they did a good job of taking him out of this scenario. And then, all year long, the players are clearly good enough, like Holiday, Brown, those guys, Porzingis, who obviously had the illness. Those guys are good enough to carry a team, or they could do it collectively. But once Tatum was out, it was weird that we had nowhere to go at that point. And Brown is usually really dominated with, when he has space. If you just, Tatum's out there, White, and then Porzingis, and people are really worried about him. Brown's allowed to get to the paint, play off 2 feet, kind of pivot around, and then score. And so that was not going to happen anymore. The Knicks had a great rim protection in Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns, and then for Brown, you just didn't have another place to go. And for him, it would be that's something that you have to learn. You have to learn how to break down defenses. You have to learn how to see two players that are leaning towards you and then hit the right guy at the right time. So there's a lot of things and it took Tatum a long time. I always thought last year he just started coming into his own. This year he was incredible at reading all the coverages and making the right play, but that takes time. So obviously we were great because Derek White had it going, and then Jaylen Brown was ridiculous defensively, high energy and all that. But that's hard to sustain, and that was a hard carryover. And the Knicks were impressive. You have to admit, of all the games they played, that was forget the 20-point comeback. That was the most impressive game that they played.
But Scal, I think something that Celtics fans have been wondering ever since the season ended so unceremoniously last Friday night was, how does a team go from playing what might be their best game of the season, if not the last couple of years, to how the hell does the team play easily their worst game of the year, if not the last several decades, all within a span of 48 hours?
Because you're not factoring in the other team, and the other team went shot for shot with the Celtics, and we were playing great. Both teams were playing great basketball at the end of the first half of Game 5. I think we were close. Both teams shooting close to 50% from three, and moving the ball and like playing out of their mind. And then the third quarter happened. So, it was one quarter where the Knicks probably mailed it in and the Celtics kept bombing threes, and, water kind of finds its level. So I think the margins are a lot smaller. We probably didn't play as great as you might think if you're looking at the opponent, and then vice versa. The Knicks, once they got up by a certain amount, our team just didn't have the horsepower to come back or the energy based off what they led in Game 5. It's not, if those were separated out by 2 weeks, you can make that argument. But just with 2 days, and then also, I started out by saying give the Knicks credit. when Derek White was on the floor in Game 6, watch the difference. I've never seen. This is like the reaction to the way they treated Derek White was the same reaction that you see with Steph Curry. Like, people lose their minds running out to Steph Curry, two guys, just to not give up a three from Steph, and they give up a wide open dunk from Draymond Green. Like, that was the Knicks' decision. I can tell you right away, like, right when I saw that game, I'm saying, okay, well, today is going to be a day where it's going to be really hard for Derek White to get free. And he had 34. So now he has to deal with the idea of getting face guarded like Steph Curry. But Steph Curry can also go for 40, but he's seen that coverage, 10,000 times in his life, I would assume.
Brian Scalabrine, NBC Sports Boston, joining us on WEEI Afternoons. Along those lines, you talk about an adjustment they made on Derek White. Did you think Tibbs outcoached Mazzulla in this series? Was there a coaching advantage for the Knicks that played out in addition to the shooting and the injuries and everything else that played?
I don't look at anything like that. Like, this guy outcoached that guy, and I know that people like to use that term, but the Knicks outplayed the Celtics in Game 1 and 2 in the third, halfway through the third quarter and the fourth quarter. So I would point to that. And there's no doubt about it. Now, I'm as critical as anybody about. I've countless times on the broadcast, and I see sometimes we could still squeeze out a win. And when you lose 1 of 82, it's not that big of a deal. But in the playoffs, it obviously is. And I've always said this: like, look at our pace as the game goes along. We're one of the slowest teams in the fourth quarter, and I've always lived by this. Now, I'm not the coach, and I don't know what Joe knows. I just know when we're at our best, we're kind of pushing the ball, and it doesn't mean. I'm not like my man Tommy, where I'm like run no matter what. Even though it would be interesting if we ran no matter what, how good this team would be. And I always think okay, when you run and you have more talent and you move the ball because you have this unique system where you have 5 guys on the court that can bomb a three. So why wouldn't you just continue to put the teams in rotation and then bomb threes, right? I would think, why would you ever, with a team like this, ever dribble the ball for 20 seconds and take a step back? I don't know if I would ever think that that's okay, but it does seem like we get a 20-point lead, and in the second half, we start walking the ball up the court. Now, I know there's a reason for it. I have no idea what that reason is, but it caught us. It cost us, I can't say a championship, but I could definitely say it cost us Game 1 and Game 2, and I just don't understand it. And I wish there was a reason, and I wish there was something that I didn't that I knew. Well, when you have this guy, this is what you want to do. Or were they practicing for something that I was unaware of? But that kind of stuff is hard to win. And if I was the other team, what I would do is exactly what teams do. They crash 4 guys to the glass because we're going to walk the ball up anyways. You have no threat at all of giving up a layup. So it's not just, wait, we can walk the ball up. There's more to it. Now they get offensive rebounds and confidence, and they get to the free throw line. There's a lot that goes into it. Basketball is not an offense or defense game. Everything is connected. A bad shot leads to a break. A missed layup leads to a 5-point swing. Walking the ball up the court leads to teams wanting to push and fight on the offensive glass and crashing 4. Historically, in the NBA, you crash 4, you get burned. But we don't burn people in the second half for whatever reason. I mean, go look at our fast break points in the second half. It's it should never be the case when you have this much talent. But there is a reason. I just don't know what it is.
All right, Scal, I was one of my questions, and Dan Ball can vouch for it because I wrote it down right here. My question number 6 for Scal was, do you have a hard time giving New York credit? Well, you have given them credit, especially against how they played the Celtics. But just in general, what do you think? How does the Eastern Conference Finals play out? I mean, are the Knicks? Do you think a championship medal team? How do you see how things playing out between them and the Pacers?
So, full transparency, I've known Jalen Brunson since he was in 9th grade or something like that. I played for Tibbs and Rick Brunson in Chicago, and Jalen used to come by afterwards, and I could not. I thought the way that Rick Brunson would ride Jalen while he worked him out, I was like, man, that's tough, man. This guy's really hard on his kid. And I'm like, man, I'm pretty hard on my kid, right? And I was like, man, how can this kid endure this stuff, right? So if any kid could endure the attention to detail that Rick Brunson kind of worked with him, I was like, okay, this kid has a special mindset, and he does. That's the reality. Won in high school, never went to like, I'm going to go to the best school and be like the sixth man. Like he just went to the school. AAU is the same thing. Like played in the local AAU tournament. Went to Villanova, won. Went to Dallas, no Luka Doncic, won. Going to the Knicks, he won. So we should give him a lot of credit. And I think like where I stand is I got to give those other guys a lot more credit than I did. Like I like Josh Hart, but I thought they would miss DiVincenzo, and I thought like Karl-Anthony Towns is like not what they needed, but clearly it all worked out. But just like anything, and I'll be the first to admit it. I don't want to say that. I'm not anything as a player unless I'm with a really good player. And I got a chance to play with Jason Kidd early on, and Rondo and Pierce and Garnett and Allen and like those guys, right? That allows me to be a better NBA player than I actually was. So I think like Brunson has that gravity towards him. The rest of those guys, like they kind of gain their confidence from Brunson. But I was shocked. Are they championship medal? They don't look like it. But I think Brunson, a lot like Steph Curry, and I've coached Steph and I've been around Brunson, they got a lot of similarities in their mindset. And I think that kind of holds true with why those two have had a lot of success.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Pacers to win in 5. Scal, sorry. Just,
you hate
I mean,
the Knicks fans? Or
hey, I saw them throw trash at that guy. Come on, get out of here with that nonsense. Throwing trash on the guy in the Tyrese Halliburton jersey.
Yeah, I know.
That's not cool.
That is so rude, man. I know, but
making Eagles fans look nice.
Yeah. I mean, but like, if you watch Brunson, don't you think like the guy's 6'1"? Look what he does. Like he's
awesome.
He's incredible.
Yeah. I did want to ask one thing. In the aftermath of the Game 6 loss, as most Celtics fans probably quickly turned the TV off or just went to binge drinking and streaming stuff on their televisions, you did say that I think it was that you felt like at times they cheated the game. Could you explain?
For sure.
Could you explain that to us? And was that in regards to the series, the season, or both?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Like just like probably more the games 1 and 2, but like in the 82 games, like you can have bad habits and still win games. Like I would say like our 2010 team kind of did that a little bit. Like just didn't have like the right winning habits, didn't have the same winning habits that they had the year before. And then that, like, in turn, like, comes back to bite you. That's just how it works. And it came back to bite us. Like, we had a 13-point lead in the fourth quarter. I probably could have won that. But then, maybe the habits of cheating the game throughout the season. Like, I know people, like, want to, like, think the regular season doesn't matter. It does matter. Like, the habits you build in the regular season matter. And so, you watch that team and you watch how they kind of, like, got snake bit a few times by, hey, we're okay. It's a long season. We can miss shots And I would say no problem if you're missing shots, but if it's not that big of a deal, then why does it affect your defense on the other end? How are you giving up 38 points in the fourth quarter to the Knicks? And I could say the exact same thing about Minnesota last night. I don't know if you guys caught that game, but yeah, we got some wide open shots and we missed. Okay, great. That's not that big of a deal. Okay, then why do you give up 70 in the second half then? If you're not affected by those missed shots, then why are you giving up 70? So then I would say, all right, well, if you are having to be affected a little bit more than you say you are, then all of a sudden, then you would drive it and you would move it and you would do some things different just to forget offense for 1 second, just to set your defense, right? And that's where I felt like if everything is based off of makes and misses and we miss some wide open shots and it's not that big of a deal, then how come when we watch, it looks like a big deal? How come it looks like everyone slumps their shoulders and gets back on defense and we give up offensive rebounds and all those things if it's not that big of a deal? So that's where I kind of feel like, are you building championship habits? Last year, there was no doubt. Now, I think the East is better, no doubt about that. But you building championship habits just start and you just keep on going. And you have slip-ups. Everyone does. But you don't blow 2 20-point leads at home from the third quarter. It's actually never happened in NBA playoff history that a team blew 2 20-point leads. Think about that. Ever. Not ever in an entire playoff series, a playoff run. It happened in back-to-back nights.
Not the history we thought the Celtics would be making, but Scal, we're in the offseason. Brad Stevens held his press conference. He kind of deflected a lot of the big picture questions the other day. Seems like a lot of people on the outside are expecting changes, trades, Porzingis, guys not back. Are you of that mindset? Are you not quite sure yet? How would you handicap this offseason we're embarking on?
Yeah, I don't know. I went into that press conference. My boy Kevin Miller wanted me to work, thinking that Brad was going to make some firework announcements. That was like we're really disappointed. Of course you're disappointed. We knew you were disappointed that you lost. What are you going to do about it? Yep. So I don't know. And I think they probably could have had a plan beforehand. And then Jason Tatum gets hurt, it has to reevaluate your plan. So, if you would ask me if Jason Tatum was healthy and all these things, I'd probably have a different answer. With the Tatum injury, when is he coming back? I don't know. Are they going to apply for a designated player exception? There's all kinds of things that I have no idea what they're going to do. So I'm being honest, I have no idea what they're going to do.
Who do you think? Is there any untouchables? I mean, is Jaylen Brown, D. White, anybody you see on this team as just untouchable? As far as trades?
Oh, that's a good question, Ted. That's a loaded question. I'll just lie. I'll lie to you. Ready? I'll lie to you. Brown, Tatum, and White, untouchable. Pritchard at his number, untouchable. Those are four untouchables. All right, I'll give you that. By the way, Ted, I don't even know if you know that's a great loaded question on your part, and I give you a ton of credit for doing it, my man.
It's my last one. I wanted to slide in real quick there. I appreciate you indulging me.
Good one. That was a good one, Ted. That's worse than you doing the 24 push-ups or pull-ups to my 2.
Also, there was one other something I heard. I think it was actually on the podcast with LeBron and Steve Nash. Scal.
Bored?
They accused them of being bored. I mean, could you ever imagine a Celtics team in any iteration under any coach, especially with this pedigree, being bored with themselves? And if so, do you think next season with Tatum out reverses that potential trend? If so,
yeah, and I'll tell you, I'll go even one step further. They look bored when they're healthy and whole. When they were shorthanded, they didn't look bored, and it didn't look boring for us. But for whatever reason, when they were whole, and I guess towards the end of the year it trended a little bit better. But go look at the number. Compare. All right, you could do some work and you could tell your fans, right? Compare last year's starting 5 net rating to this year's starting 5. Same starting 5 last year to this year, and look at the difference. That to me looks like you're bored with the details and bored with the process. But I know when they had guys out, Luke Cornett was like a net rating darling all year long. Like he's a backup. So for whatever reason, they had like a little bit of a spark when Cornett comes into the game, and it looked different. So yeah, everyone uses their own language. Bored to me is like not focusing on the attention to detail, right? It's like not doing the little things that it takes to win throughout the 82-game season, and really when you're up by 13 in the second half or whatever it may be. But yeah, I think there's probably a little bit of that's LeBron's version of saying not having championship habits.
Scal, not that this is an option, I don't think, but I'm a huge JB fan, and yet earlier in the week I admitted that if I could pull it off, find some way to do it, I would absolutely trade him for the number 1 pick, Cooper Flagg. Would you make that deal?
That's another loaded question.
Good one.
Doing our job, buddy.
I would avoid that one as well. I'll steer clear of that one. I mean, maybe I've given you my answer, but yeah, I'll steer clear of that one too.
So, okay, an easy one to end on then before we let you go. I saw that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to win the MVP. I think that was expected. Is that where your vote would have gone, or do you think Jokic is still the best basketball player?
Jokic is still the best basketball player, probably the most impactful basketball player, but it's just how it goes, right? Like photo fatigue, and by the way, SGA's advanced analytics. Now the UPS guy is upset at me too for the Celtics losing. SGA's advanced analytics would also point to a very good on-court, off-court, and all those things. So there's a lot where it's not just he put up monster numbers and it didn't affect winning. They both affected winning, and he put up monster numbers as well. So I think I would have went that direction as well.
Hey, Andy, real quick, I just want to ask
you. Hi. You want to say hi to WEI? Say hi. Say hi.
I want to say hi. You first.
He's mad at
Hi,
me.
UPS.
He's mad that the Celtics lost.
That's awesome.
Should be.
What's up, bro? Hey, just SJ's game. Do you? A lot of people, I don't know, kind of
Yeah,
harken
I
to
like
maybe
it.
like a James Harden kind of game about how he draws foul. You like his game? It's aesthetically, you enjoy it.
Yeah. I'll tell you
Okay.
why, because he leads the league in drives. I like guys that drive to the basket.
Yeah. He
It's
gets
not, he's
rewarded.
not to settle. He don't settle for three. Those guys.
Finally.
All right. You wanted the picture? Gotcha. See ya.
Bye, UPS guys.
This is amazing.
That's awesome.
Can you
Take care of
say
those
yes,
guys.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
Hey!
All right. See ya.
Life of Scal.
All right. Yeah, because he leads the league in drives, and I like guys that go to the basket. And everyone's like, he's a foul merchant. Well, I mean, a lot of guys in the league are just pulling up from three. At least he's getting downhill. So there's a reason he does get to the free throw line, because he does drive. Now, does he know how to accentuate contact? Yes. If you James Harden, not so much. One thing to look at, Ted, if you're looking at SGA, there's only two players in the history of the NBA to average 30 points and less than 2 turnovers: Michael Jordan and SGA.
Great stat.
Dang.
Did not know that. Okay.
All right, Scal, we're going to let you go
Thanks,
before the FedEx guy, the Amazon guy, whoever else comes by and joins the show. Enjoy the off season, and we'll talk to you down the road. And I'm also taking it as a yes that you would trade Jaylen Brown for Cooper Flagg, but no one needs to know. We'll just move on. Thanks, Scal.
All right,
Thanks,
I'll
bud.
talk to you guys. See ya.
Thanks, bud.
Hey, man.
Brian Scalabrine, NBC Sports Boston, joining us here on WEEI Afternoons, as well as his UPS delivery man. We appreciate him chiming in with his opinions, his disappointment on the Celtics.